Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're dissecting an absolutely fascinating tactical clash in the 2026 FIFA World Cup round of 32. We've got the European powerhouse, Germany, going head-to-head with the South American dark horse, Paraguay. And rather than just obsessing over the final score, we're going to really break down exactly how these radically contrasting styles are going to collide on the pitch. We're looking at where the pivotal tactical battles will actually be won and lost.
Okay, let's dive into this, because the safety net of the group stage, that is officially gone. No more second chances. But here's the thing, for these two squads, the knockout phase carries a completely different psychological weight. For Germany, the pressure of a single elimination game is, it's incredibly heavy. They're kind of burdened by the ghosts of their recent early tournament exits, right? This is a nation that expects deep runs. Anything less is literally considered a massive failure. Now for Paraguay, this moment represents the culmination of years of meticulous rebuilding. They aren't just playing to advance, they're stepping out there to validate an entire defensive footballing philosophy on the world's biggest stage. Every single pass, every interception, it all carries the weight of those contrasting narratives.
So, the big question, who actually keeps their dream alive today? Honestly, the answer won't just come down to who wants it more. At this elite level, it never really does. It comes down to who can impose their tactical will for 90 minutes, or, potentially a grueling 120. The central tension of our explainer today really boils down to this. Can Germany's highly structured, methodical possession system find a way to break down Paraguay's chaotic, yet remarkably impenetrable low block? It's your classic unstoppable force meeting an immovable object, and the execution of those two distinct game plans will decide who advances to the next round.
And we absolutely can't ignore the environment. Before the referee even blows the whistle, the stadium itself sets a very specific tone. You have the rhythmic, highly organized chanting of the German traveling support clashing directly with the raw, just deafening energy of the Paraguayan fans. And in a high-stakes knockout game, this wall of sound isn't just about color and spectacle. It actually directly impacts on-pitch communication. Think about it. When center backs are trying to call out marking assignments or midfielders are trying to trigger a synchronized press, that deafening roar makes defensive organization infinitely more challenging. The atmosphere essentially becomes a 12th man out there, testing the concentration of every single player on the field.
Now what's really interesting here is looking specifically at Germany's confident approach. They bring this suffocating tactical identity to the pitch. They don't just rely on their historic tradition of tournament success. They lean hard into a highly aggressive, high-pressing, possession-heavy system. They typically look to pin their opponents deep in their own half. How? By utilizing inverted fullbacks to overload the central midfield. This lets them circulate the ball rapidly from side to side, just constantly probing, daring the opposition to make a single structural mistake. Their discipline isn't about sitting back. Actually, scratch that. It's more like maintaining relentless attacking pressure without leaving themselves wildly exposed to a sudden breakaway as they chase another title.
On the flip side, Paraguay fully embraces their role as tactical disruptors. But let's be clear, it's far more than just sheer determination. It's highly organized destruction. They typically deploy a rigid 4-4-2 low block. They'll drop their defensive line deep, shrinking the space between their midfield and defense. The goal? Completely close off those central passing lanes and force Germany into settling for low-percentage crosses from out wide. By absorbing the pressure and utilizing aggressive, well-timed tackles in the middle third of the pitch, Paraguay essentially sets a trap. They're an incredibly formidable opponent, just waiting for that absolute perfect moment to spring forward.
And this brilliantly illustrates the clash of styles we're going to see right in the center of the park from the opening whistle. Germany will essentially set up camp in Paraguay's half, orchestrating overloads to stretch that narrow defensive shape. Paraguay, however, they are perfectly comfortable conceding 70% possession. No problem for them. They'll stay exceptionally compact, absorbing wave after wave of German pressure. The real battle is going to be won in the transition moments, specifically that clash between Germany's midfield pivot and Paraguay's counterattacking forwards. The split-second Paraguay wins the ball back, they're going to look to bypass the German midfield entirely with direct vertical passes, exploiting the massive spaces left behind Germany's high defensive line. As the clock ticks down, the tactical script, it often gets completely thrown out the window. It's perfectly captured by the idea that every single challenge, every interception, and every chance becomes magnified. It's all about game states. When legs start to tire around the 70th minute, microscopic gaps begin to appear. Maybe Paraguay's meticulously spaced 4-4-2 starts to stretch just a bit, offering a sliver of space for a German playmaker. Or perhaps Germany, growing a little frustrated, pushes their fullbacks just a few yards too high, leaving their center backs dangerously isolated. In these exhausting final phases, split-second decision-making and capitalizing on physical fatigue become the defining factors of the match. One decisive moment changes everything.
Entering the final 15 minutes, the dynamic shifts dramatically. The intensity reaches a whole other level.
If the match is still deadlocked, watch closely for the strategic adjustments from both managers. Germany might completely abandon their intricate passing game and bring on a traditional physical target man to bypass the low block entirely and just physically dominate the penalty area. Conversely, Paraguay might introduce fresh, lightning-fast legs on the wings, fully anticipating that Germany will throw numbers forward out of pure desperation. The tactical chess match accelerates into this chaotic sprint, where the initial game plan has to adapt instantly to the brutal reality of the ticking clock. Every single player is fighting for every ball, fans are cheering every attack, and both teams are giving absolutely everything for their country.
So what does this all mean? Ultimately, this matchup asks a fundamental question about modern international football. Does meticulous, possession-based control eventually break down any defense? Or does the raw, highly organized chaos of a perfectly executed counterattack prevail? Only one philosophy survives today, and only one team moves on, while the other's campaign comes to a heartbreaking end. The victor is going to carry massive momentum into the round of 16. So let me know, which tactical approach do you think wins out in this clash of styles? Drop your predictions down in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe for more deep dive explainers into the tactics of the World Cup. Thanks for joining me today, and enjoy the match.